Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Paul Webb, I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and you are listening to Energy Speaks Back. Energy Speaks Back interviews energy experts from around the world. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to episode 21 of Energy Speaks Back. Weekly, I present to you experts from around the world. Today we are in Kenya. Our subject today is energy management in Kenya and the tourism sector. Our purpose as always is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver energy savings and impact on our planet. Today I'm joined by an environmental expert consultant who has experience in international donor-funded projects. She has conducted hundreds of hotel certification audits and coached various tour operators towards sustainability. Her passion lies in environmental education to create awareness and engagement in the environmental responsibilities of individuals of different ages and corporates in different industries for a better future. Once again, we are very proud to be spotlighting Kenya on Energy Speaks Back. So, without any further ado, I give you Marxine Waite. Good afternoon, or should I say good late afternoon, Marxine, and how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Just enjoying the day. It's a bit chilly today here in Kenya, but
Really?
it's great. Yeah.
Well, the UK, just to make you feel jealous, it's -2 today in the UK. Plenty of snow around, and I'm sure you haven't got -2.
No, it's probably 18 or 17.
18. Oh, yeah.
But
So
it's chilly for us.
yes, I'm the jealous one. I quite like 18 degrees. Marxine, we've been doing some really great stuff in Kenya. We've been doing some webinars and getting your country together regarding following energy management and the environment. So for our listeners today, can you give us some background to yourself of what you do in Kenya?
So I have a background in environmental science, and from way back, I've always wanted to be a teacher. I wasn't really sure what exactly I wanted to teach, but then I got into the environmental studies field, and I've been passionate about teaching people, different cadres of people about the environment. So that's basically what I've been doing. So where I started out, I started as a volunteer in a research organization that did marine and terrestrial research at the coast, but they also had a program for environmental education for kids. And that was sort of like my starting point in applying my knowledge of environmental education for children. So I did curriculums with children. I did a lot of outdoor education for them. And it was also a lot on interpreting what people got from the marine and terrestrial research and trying to help the children understand about the environment, the implications of their actions, etc. Because one thing that's for sure is that environmental education, it's important, yes, for Kenyan people, but it's not mainstreamed at all. So a lot of people are trying to, go into environmental education. Well, not a lot, but they're sort of now realizing the importance of it. So that's where I started out. And then I came back to Nairobi. So that was at the coast, but then I came back to Nairobi. And I started working with a tourism association, and there was just an association of hotels and tour operators mostly doing tourism. And the mandate of that organization, which was called Ecotourism Kenya, it's actually trying to make tourism more sustainable. So working with tour operators and accommodations using a certification that has different components in environmental management, in promoting local cultures, in supporting local communities, and just fair business. So a lot of what I brought in is the environmental aspect. So I led in the certification of hotels and also with tour operators, although the certification for tour operators was managed in the Netherlands through a company called Travel Life. But a huge component of that also is environmental management, because a lot of people, they don't seem to realize their impacts on the environment. They sort of think that it's a way out there sort of topic, but you have to make information that is relevant to these audiences, like for example, tour operators. You have to talk to them about how they manage their energy, how they manage their waste, how they can influence the different destinations. For instance, how they can influence their clients into choosing more sustainable accommodations and things like that. So when you bring information that is relevant for that particular audience, then it's sort of like a call to action for them to start being more sustainable and to start thinking about the environment and how they can contribute. So that's what I've been doing for the last about 4 to 5 years. And I started my own company very recently, actually in the peak of the COVID season.
As you do.
Yeah, so it is called Green Catalyst Consultancy. And of course, it's focused a lot on environmental education, but I wanted to take this beyond tourism because a lot of my experience has been with tour operators and hotels. But I saw that all the other suppliers who were actually even supplying the tour operators, the manufacturers, and all these other people, they also need this sort of training on the environment to get people to start caring about the environment. So I started Green Catalyst Consultancy and just expanding the same type of concept, but to other people within different industries beyond.
Impressive background you have there. There's a couple of things I'd like to pick up on. So firstly, the children, which I'm very, I found that very important level of training the next generations of children regarding energy management and the environment, the very important aspects. What age groups were you educating then?
Okay, because it was not very well structured, so they will let you choose which age groups you want to work with.
Right.
And I tried it from around 6 years going up. So you can put them in different categories. So maybe you can take people from class, here we used to call them class 1, 2, 3, up to 8.
Yeah,
so you take like standard 1, which is like class 1, up to like standard 3. So you can do that as one group. So that's about age maybe 6 or 7 to around 9. And then now you take the next age group to another 3 years. So you can do however you want to do it. We had also a few with high schoolers. And it was interesting because the younger children, they were more perceptive to these environmental issues and they wanted to learn more. And the teenagers were like, I don't know what I want to do. It's not too interesting because, like I said, it's not been mainstreamed at all. And
you know, I can vouch for that experience as well because I've done some education. So when my children were at school, my son was in his last year, getting ready to go into secondary school. So I went to the school and said, I'll be happy to do some education and help them. And they were doing an eco sort of grading, which in the government was bronze, silver and gold. And I helped them go from bronze to silver. And I had the privilege of educating 5-year-olds right up to 10. They couldn't do the energy surveys with me. So what I did is I done the energy survey, then I presented it back to them. And it was as if they did the energy survey. And they really, really engaged, really enjoyed it. And for me, it was very rewarding to do that as well. And I quite enjoyed that. So let's touch on the hotels because I've been very fortunate and lucky to travel to Kenya myself. In I think 1998, I think I had the privilege of going there. Beautiful country, and the hotels are amazing and very high star level. I think they're 5+ star, very impressive. Even the ones on safari were very impressive. So it's a very large part of your sector, your country's sector regarding economy. How many hotels are spread across Kenya in total? Is it significant?
It is significant. Now, the funny thing is that I cannot tell you the total number of hotels because, interestingly enough, we don't have concrete data about that.
Right.
But we do have like the ones that are rated. We have the star rating by the government, then they can give you the total. Of course, we have hundreds and hundreds of them. But you'll find that a lot of them are clustered around like the main tourism hotspots, like within the game parks, reserves, and conservancies. She's like the Masai Mara and Amboseli, that's in Rift Valley of Kenya. We have some up north, northern Kenya in Samburu, and a lot of them at the coast, because we have a beautiful, beautiful coastline, and we sell a lot of, well, we used to sell a lot of sun and sand. Right now, with the changing climate, I'm actually a bit worried if that is a product that we can continue selling, because it was something that we could sell like all year round. But now things are changing. Of course, the weather is changing. We don't have snow yet, not at the coast. But it's raining a lot more. So of course, the sun aspect is affected. And but yes, they're very, very many number of hotels. And if I can say, like in terms of the hotels that are being certified as sustainable versus the others, though I don't have a concrete number, it could be 1:200. Because certified hotels are really, they're not many.
Yeah. And is there some form of green tourist campaign there? Is there a tourist board, a green tourist board that you can be associated to? Are there any policies that they're developing?
Yes, there is. We have a Kenyan Tourism Board, and they do a lot of the marketing for the Kenyan destination as a whole, and also specific properties as well. But a lot of the accommodations, they tend to do their own marketing, because you'll find that, fortunately or unfortunately, most of them are actually foreign owned. Right. And so maybe, for example, you're from the UK, right? And then you come here and invest, and you have a property in Mombasa. So you will get a lot of your clients from the UK, and you're able to fill up your accommodation, because again, we rely heavily on international markets as well. So the foreign investors here in the country, they do a lot of their own marketing for their own properties and their destination to their home countries, and that's how they're able to get lots of tourists in. But yes, the Kenyan Tourism Board also does marketing.
And what about government policy regarding energy?
The government policy regarding energy, well, it's an interesting concept here in Kenya, because a lot of our energy from the national power supply, it's green in a way, because it's hydrothermal, most of it. Right. And also it's geothermal, and now we have like one of the biggest wind farms right now at Kipeto. So at least it is renewable. There was plans to have a coal plant in Lamu, which is one big tourist hotspot, and there was a big outcry from people and also from the international community, and it didn't go through but sometime last year. So that was actually very remarkable, because of course Kenya is looking to industrialize. We have like the Vision 2030, and energy is a key thing. I mean, if you're moving in that direction, but what kind of energy are you looking at? And in terms of the hotel sector, there's also we have an energy act that also touches on use of solar power if you're heating more than 100 liters of water in a day. So a lot of hotels will fall into that category, and that has seen a lot of hotels going into solar power. So the challenge right now is actually the enforcement. We don't have the capacity to enforce this fully, but because the law is there, we've seen a lot of people embracing it. Brilliant. And also the good thing about the hotels, a lot of them are off-grid, but except the ones at the coast and within the major towns. So all those, when you go to safaris, Namara and Samburu, you'll find that most of these places are off-grid, and they usually do use solar, but it's sort of mixed, because they most of them will have diesel generators, and a couple of them will be fully on solar. A few I've audited two that had wind power, but then that's it. And also the rest are on the grid. So the commitment to renewable energy is there. We definitely need more enforcement in terms of the huge energy consumers, so to call them. And I think we have like the potential to harness a lot of solar energy. I mean, it's very sunny most of the time here. The temperatures are great. So yeah, we have a huge potential for solar definitely, and for wind. If you talk to Jesse as well, he can tell you like the statistics.
Jesse.
I'm sure you'll have like
Jesse just planned to come on my podcast soon. What with
yes.
you, Jesse, and Festus, I think you work in a very good trio where you're looking at the energy management side, Jesse's looking at the supply side, and then you've got Festus on the other side regarding the tree industry and sort of doing the carbon absorption, which is perfect on the environment.
Exactly.
So tell me, so we've got the hotel sector, which is a big part. So is there much industry that needs to comply to this energy management?
Yes, we do have. There's quite a bit in the industrialization sector. We have like a lot of industries and manufacturers under the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. They also consume quite a bit of energy, but you will find that most of them are actually within Nairobi. So they are on the grid, and that solves a lot of their energy issues outright. And now also there's a move to have this sort of like a circular economy where you can move things from one industry, provide energy to the next. So that's still like on paper. There are people who are trying to do it. I cannot tell you how many so far. But yeah, that's also something we can look at in terms of alternative energy using biomass, for instance. But yeah.
So the country for me sounds very advanced at what you're doing. You've got your renewables. There seems to be some focus on circular economy. There seems to be focus on energy management, especially in the hotel sector. Where do you think your gaps are?
Okay, our gaps are, first of all, in the hotels. I've just mentioned that a lot of them are using solar power, but it's not 100% solar power unless they're very small camps. That way, it's easier to manage. But you'll find like big lodges and hotels that are off grid. A lot of them will still use diesel and maybe just use solar for water heating only. This is because they're not, I don't know if the problem is just the infrastructure or just getting the right equipment, because they say that they cannot sustain themselves on just solar for that big capacity of a camp, because they say the investment is really huge. And so a lot of people don't get in because of the initial investment. And I think what is also lacking is a solid education on that this money will eventually, pay itself back. They don't see the economics of it. It doesn't make sense. And they have had the systems using diesel generators that have been working for them for years and years. Like I say, the tourism industry is not like one of the oldest industries in Kenya. And you come in like Marxine here with my environmental knowledge, and I will try to convince these people who've been running this hotel for 30, 40 years that, hey, look, there's a better way to do this and your money will eventually come back. But they're not seeing it, because this is how they've been doing it. They've been making money. They don't see why they should, invest in all of this. So there's not enough education, especially on the economic aspect, because people want to have their money come back to them. And also the environmental aspect of things is not mainstreamed. And what is funny is because they're in the tourism industry that relies a lot on the environment and the climate being stable. Me using this huge diesel generators, I'm emitting this much tons of carbon years, and I'm affecting the very environment that I I get my living from.
Yeah.
So they don't look at it that way. And I think we need to sort of really shift our focus in how we look at things and take the responsibility in our hands. I mean, if I want my hotel to be there in the next 10, 15 years, clearly I must,
Exactly.
improve, adapt to the changing times.
Yeah. So how many people like you as experts in the environment world and the energy management world trying to drive this? Is there many of the Maxines in the world in Kenya?
For me in the hotel industry, let me just be honest. Like within the certification, there's only one Kenyan-owned certification. That's from a company I used to work with. It's called Ecotourism Kenya, and they have that standard for certification of hotels. A sustainability certification. Let me be very clear because you can probably certify hotels on different things.
Yeah.
And it's a very small company. If you tell, it's a small organization with a huge mandate.
Mm.
So there's not really many of us. There's a lot of people talking about renewable energy. Definitely, there is a lot of people talking about being more eco-conscious. Definitely, but just really focused on the hotel industry. No. And then there's also another company that does capacity building also for sustainable tourism. But there's a lot of focus on community engagement because, again, that's another thing that we've realized that people are reaping a lot from tourism, but the local communities who are not getting as much as they should because they're contributing to a lot of cultural tourism. So that other company is very much focused on community issues. So in terms of the environment, this, and in the hotel sector, to be honest, it's not.
So how can we work with the hotel groups to get that knowledge back into them regarding webinars and more hotel based, possibly, and more industry sector based? What's your thoughts on doing that?
Yes, exactly. There is, and I think that's a good way to know. Like I usually say, the recipe for success is just giving people relevant information and a call to action. Uh, just in line with this, back in 2018, I applied for a small grant to do research, and it was actually on carbon emissions from diesel generators in the Masai Mara. And it went through, and I did like a basic model of calculating. It's a mathematical thing. It's not my own. I borrowed it from somewhere, and calculated carbon emissions from 3 properties just based on their diesel use, and you could see how it was going up, especially during the high season and whatnot. Of course, it's not not an air quality expert, but it's a basic way of showing them like potentially this is how much carbon you're emitting. And once you prevent this information that is very much relevant to this target audience, and they see, oh my God, yes, this is our impact, we have to do something about it. Because just having a general sort of training on, hey, carbon is not good for the environment and this is global warming, it doesn't really, bring out a call to action. You need something that is very specific, that's very targeted to that particular audience to make them, start shifting their thinking and their behavior and to contribute positively to to climate action. So yeah, so this is something we can definitely do, and if it's well tailored and suited for the hotel industry, it's definitely going to be more impactful because it is education that is meant for them. Yeah.
So I've done a lot of work with hotel groups in the UK, and I've got a lot of experience of working with them regarding their energy management side, which falls in line with what they need to be doing regarding get them saving in kilowatt hours, improving their profits. This is the important thing. It's going to increase their profits and at the same time make the environment better. So now sometimes they need to be focused on the profits rather than the environment, but they all like to be green. I think that is an important aspect. What I'm finding as some feedback to your country from where I am at the moment, I'm getting a lot of individuals from Kenya approaching me wanting to learn more about being an energy expert, about being part of this learning curve for the country. So there is a lot of people out there that are willing to join your sort of following of doing energy management in your country. So just to let you know, there's a lot of people, you're not just on your own there. There's other people that are willing to join you, which I think we should try and pull them all together on a webinar and start to teach people how we can then. It's been really lovely catching up with you. Is there anything that you can give the industry today or your country, a message for your country today as a takeaway for the listeners? Because there's quite a few people listening to this from Kenya.
Okay, for me, I would say that the time for action is now, and we cannot just let the responsibility be with the government and the NGOs. It's our home, it's our planet, it's my responsibility, it is your responsibility, to think about your choices, to contribute positively to the environment. And it doesn't just have to be on energy, it could be on any matter of things. It could be even on waste management, for instance. I mean, if you choose not to use a plastic straw and 1 million people in Kenya decided we're not going to use a plastic straw, that's 1 million plastic straws out of the environment. So just making daily personal choices and taking it as your personal responsibility, that's the only way we're going to save this planet. It's not the government's job. It's your job.
Yes, very true words there. And thank you for that. And thank you for sharing that. That's really true. So Maxine, it's lovely to catch up with you. I've just been very excited having you on the podcast today. I've got a lot of passion for Kenya. Being there and seeing the beauty of it, it's an amazing country. Thank you for joining us. And I would like to say, you and your family, I know your mum, obviously, please be safe. You can give her office back now. I'm sure she'll have a big smile on her face. So please, you be safe, you and your family. So thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Paul, for having me. This is my first podcast. I'm excited. It's been interesting. And I can't wait to see what future partnerships, collaborations we could have. So let's grow Team UK, Kenya for a better planet.
Excellent. I'm sure we can all help each other. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Take
care.
Thank
you for having me. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening today, and thank you to my special guest. And if you want to know more about managing your third largest expense, please go to our website on b2benergy.co.uk. That leaves me with one more thing to say. Be safe.